06, a daring mission, the prototype's journey. In the shadowy heart of Doskvol, a diverse group of criminals and adventurers gathered at the cipher's shop, where danger and intrigue lurked around every corner. The air was thick with anticipation and the faint scent of oil and burnt circuits, a testament to the genius inventor Lannic's relentless pursuit of technological advancement. Jack, Harry, Rabbit's Foot, and Harlequina, each seasoned rogues with their own unique talents, arrived first, scanning the room for signs of their new allies. Lannic stood at the center of the shop, surrounded by half-finished gadgets and tools. His recent encounter with the Circle of Flame had left scars on his skin, but his resolve remained unshaken. At his side was the prototype, an enigmatic device rumored to be capable of unimaginable feats. Its exact purpose was a closely guarded secret, known only to Lannic and perhaps a few trusted confidants. One by one, their reinforcements arrived. Arthur Xavier, known as the Leech, entered with a devilish grin and roguish charm. He was followed by Adrian Blackwood, the Weaver, whose fingers twitched as if weaving the very fabric of fate. Silas Thorne, the Hound, joined next, his eyes ever watchful. Finally, Constantine, the famed bounty hunter, strode in with a confident air, his reputation as a relentless pursuer preceding him. The group assembled around a crude map of Doskvol, marked with their route and potential hazards. The plan was detailed, with each member's role meticulously assigned to ensure the prototype's safe passage across town. Silas Thorne, with his keen senses and unmatched tracking skills, was to scout the Deadlands. His task was to ensure no ambush awaited them from the air or water. The Deadlands, an eerie and desolate area outside the city's walls, was often shrouded in thick mist and home to lurking threats. Silas's experience in such treacherous terrain made him the perfect choice for this critical role. Adrian Blackwood would precede the convoy, using his knack for reading the ebb and flow of danger to detect and avoid potential threats. Adrian's talent for premonition and manipulating luck provided the group with a crucial advantage. Arthur Xavier would follow the convoy closely, his sharp eyes and quick reflexes ready to counter any attack from the rear. His reputation as the Leech, a master of deception and misdirection, meant that any assailants would face his wits before threatening the convoy. Constantine had perhaps the most dangerous task of all. The Circle of Flame, a gang known for their ruthless use of fire and fear, posed a significant threat. Constantine's expertise in dealing with such ruthless foes was crucial. Lannic turned to everyone gathered, his eyes serious but hopeful. "Good luck, my friends. May the strings of fate sing for us tonight." With those words, he left the shop, leaving the team to prepare. Silas immediately departed to take his post in the Deadland woods, slipping into the shadows like a phantom. The others stayed behind, making final preparations and discussing the mission. Constantine, ever sociable, made conversation, his presence a mix of charm and intimidation. He approached Rabbit's Foot, who was quietly shuffling his tarot deck. "Can I ask you a favor?" Constantine's voice was low, almost a whisper. Rabbit looked up, intrigued. "Sure, what is it?" "Can I check your tarot deck? I'd like to see my luck for today." Rabbit handed over the deck without hesitation. Constantine shuffled it with surprising deftness, then picked a random card. He stared at it for a long moment, his expression darkening. Just as before. It hasn't changed." "Thanks, my friend." He handed the deck back to Rabbit and walked away, lost in thought. Curious, Rabbit looked at the card on top. It was the Fool, a card often associated with new beginnings, innocence, and naivety, but also with deception and folly. In Rabbit's experience, it usually meant a lie was in the future. This was troubling. Would they be betrayed? By whom? And why? As the group set out, the weight of the card's omen hung heavy in Rabbit's mind. Every glance and word from his companions carried the potential of hidden treachery. The mission had just begun, but already the shadow of doubt threatened to unravel their fragile alliance. In the dangerous streets of Doskvol, trust was a rare and precious commodity, and the fool's warning could not be ignored. The plan was intricate and dangerous. 2 convoys set out from the cipher's shop, each carrying precious cargo, one the prototype, the other a decoy. Lannic had kept the true contents of each convoy a closely guarded secret, known only to him. This deception was crucial to outmaneuver the Circle of Flame, who were expected to ambush them with their fierce enforcer, Firefly. Rabbit's Foot and Harry Potter took to the waters, their small boat slipping silently along the canals between Brightstone and Gaddock Station. As they passed by the bridge to the Lost District, Rabbit's mind was preoccupied with the ominous tarot card, the Fool. Its presence gnawed at him, casting a shadow of doubt over their mission. Unbeknownst to them, watchers on the bridge had already spotted their boat. A signal flared in the sky, unnoticed by Rabbit and Harry. A figure descended swiftly from the bridge, rappelling down with the grace of a shadow. The intruder landed silently on the boat, hidden from view, poised to strike at the right moment. Meanwhile, Jack and Harlequina drove the carriage convoy through the bustling streets of Doskvol. The prototype or the decoy, no one but Lannic knew which, was safely stowed away in the carriage. As they navigated the busy roads, Jack's eyes were peeled for any sign of danger. Suddenly, they saw it, a red and foamy paint line drawn across the road, the prearranged signal from Adrian, their scout. Red was the color of danger, a warning of imminent threat. Jack halted the carriage, scanning the surroundings with sharp eyes. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Pedestrians walked by, vendors shouted their wares, and life in Doskvol continued as usual. Deciding it was safe to proceed, Jack and Harlequina moved forward cautiously. Their progress was abruptly halted by an Imperial Police checkpoint. Officers were stopping every vehicle, demanding papers and searching for someone. The officers' stern faces and the meticulous checks made it clear this was no routine inspection. Harlequina shot a worried glance at Jack. "They're looking for someone," she whispered. Jack nodded, his mind racing. How would they pass through without raising suspicion? Their cargo, be it the prototype or the decoy, was too important to risk being discovered. He glanced at Harlequina, silently signaling her to stay calm and follow his lead. At the checkpoint, Jack and Harlequina faced their own crisis. The Imperial Police officers approached their carriage, their expressions stern. Jack handed over the forged papers, hoping they would pass muster. Harlequina kept her eyes down, trying to appear as non-threatening as possible. One officer scrutinized the documents, his brow furrowing. "What's your business here?" he asked, his tone suspicious. Jack kept his voice steady. "Delivering goods from Brightstone to Gaddock Station. We're on a tight schedule." The officer nodded slowly, but his eyes lingered on the carriage longer than Jack liked. Another officer circled the vehicle, peering inside. Jack cleared his throat. "I believe Inspector Franch is expecting us." "I am a lucky man," he said, the code phrase passing his lips with calculated precision. The officer's demeanor changed immediately. "Franch, you say?" he muttered, glancing at the papers again before nodding. "Right, you're good to go." As relief washed over Jack, a second officer stepped forward insistently. "I still need to check the cargo." Jack couldn't allow that. With a subtle motion, he used a whisper of arcane power to erase the man's recent memories and confuse him. The officer blinked, disoriented, and waved them through absent-mindedly. They were free, but the dangers were far from over. The carriage rolled through Doskvol's narrow streets, shrouded in a dense fog. Jack and Harlequina felt the weight of their mission pressing down on them. Harlequina's instincts were on high alert. "Something's not right," she murmured, taking an unexpected turn down a side street. Jack trusted her instincts, having seen them save them before. Moments later, the pounding of hooves echoed behind them. 2 riders emerged from the fog, crossbows ready. Before they could shoot, Xavier galloped up, his horse swift and sure. He took aim and fired, taking down one rider. The fallen rider tumbled to the ground, his horse skittering away. "Jack, distract him!" Harlequina shouted, pulling out her pistol. Jack tossed a handful of flash powder into the air, creating a blinding burst of light. The remaining rider's horse reared, and Harlequina seized the opportunity. Her shot was precise, hitting the horse and sending the rider crashing to the ground. They approached the fallen rider quickly. Harlequina bound his hands while Jack kept watch. "You're coming with us," she said, pulling him into the carriage. With the immediate threat neutralized, they continued their journey through the thickening fog, their determination unwavering. On the boat, Rabbit's Foot and Harry Potter moved with tense precision. The creaking of the deck and the sloshing of the water were the only sounds until a faint rustle broke the silence. Rabbit's Foot turned sharply, eyes narrowing at a shadowy figure in the hold. "Intruder," he hissed to Harry. The figure stepped into the dim light, gun raised. Harry's instincts kicked in, and with a swift incantation, his skin turned to stone. The intruder's bullet ricocheted off Harry, hitting the intruder in the shoulder. He dropped his weapon, yelping in pain. Seeing Rabbit and Harry advancing, the intruder threw a Molotov cocktail. Flames roared up, creating a barrier. Without hesitation, Rabbit leaped through the fire, landing smoothly with his gun drawn. "Stop now or die," he commanded. The intruder hesitated, glancing at his knife before reluctantly dropping it and raising his hands in surrender. "Tell me about the other traps waiting for us along the river," Rabbit demanded, showing the intruder a small, intricately designed compass. The intruder's eyes widened at the offer, but distrust remained. With a defiant move, he jumped over the side of the boat. Rabbit cursed and turned to find Harry battling the spreading flames. They managed to extinguish the fire, though the boat was partially damaged. They had become more vulnerable. Rabbit spotted a balloon rising on the horizon, emblazoned with the circle of flames emblem. His heart sank. "This is not good," Rabbit muttered. The balloon signaled a greater threat. The circle of flames was mobilizing, making their mission even more dangerous. "Harry, we need to keep moving," Rabbit urged, helping him to his feet. "We have to get this prototype to its destination, no matter what." Harry nodded, determination setting in. "Let's go." They sailed on, the city's dark silhouette looming ahead. The presence of the circle of flames cast a long shadow over their journey, but Rabbit and Harry were resolute. They had a mission to complete, no matter the obstacles. As Jack and Harlequina raced through the streets of Charterhall, foreboding hung heavy in the air. Jack's unease grew, and he reached for his spirit-bane charm, which pulsed with an otherworldly light, a silent warning. An arrow whistled through the air, hitting one of their horses. Harlequina reacted swiftly, drawing her rifle and loading it with electroplasm bullets, knowing the threat was significant. Another arrow struck, felling another horse. They spotted their attacker, a grotesque undead centaur, a horrifying mix of man and horse stitched together with dark magic. Jack felt a chill as he realized the depths of their enemy's depravity. As they fought, Harlequina noticed something chilling, a familiar face among the undead centaur's twisted features. Jack's blood ran cold. It was clear their enemies had sunk to unspeakable depths. As they defeated the abomination and continued their journey, Jack and Harlequina pondered who among them might have betrayed them to the Dimmer sisters and what further horrors awaited them. One thing was certain, they wouldn't rest until they uncovered the truth and ended the treachery threatening to tear them apart. In Doskvol, trust was rare, and betrayal could come from the most unexpected sources. Jack and Harlequina had just maneuvered their carriage past the remains of the undead centaur. The night market's dim lights flickered as they approached Gaddock Station. The sounds of bustling vendors and murmuring crowds masked the tension. Suddenly, a strange popping sound startled them. Constantine appeared out of thin air, his clothes stained with oil, smelling of burned hair. "Evening, folks. Got a smoke, Harlequina?" Constantine asked. Harlequina handed him a cigarette. Constantine lit it, taking a drag before exhaling a plume of smoke. His face was grim. Listen, there's grave danger ahead. The circle of flame is setting up an ambush not far from here. And Rabbit's Foot and Harry Potter are in bigger trouble on the boat. Fireflies sent reinforcements, and they won't last long without help. Jack and Harlequina exchanged worried glances. We can't let them face this alone, Jack said. We'll go to help them. Constantine, you stay here with the convoy until we call you. Constantine nodded, pulling out a small glass bottle with a swirling, ethereal light. Here, take this. It's a teleporting spell. It'll send you straight to Rabbit and Harry. Use it wisely. Jack took the bottle, gripping it tightly. Harlequina nodded. Keep the convoy safe, Constantine. We'll handle the boat. Jack and Harlequina materialized on the boat with a flash, startling Rabbit's Foot and Harry Potter. What the hell? Jack. Harlequina. How did you? Rabbit's Foot began. No time to explain. Look up. Jack interrupted. A massive balloon bearing the Circle of Flames emblem hovered above. Attackers in the balloon were lowering a barrel towards the boat. What do we do? Harry Potter asked. Change course. Now. Jack ordered. Jack grabbed the tiller, steering the boat down a narrow canal to evade the balloon. The attackers prepared to drop another barrel, but Harlequina fired first, puncturing it and causing its contents to spray out. It's oil. Be careful. Harlequina warned. Harry conjured a fireball, launching it at the leaking barrel. The oil ignited in a spectacular burst, crippling the balloon. The attackers, realizing the danger, leaped into the river. Good job, team. Let's regroup with Constantine, Jack said. They navigated the boat to a safe spot and reunited with Constantine, who was waiting anxiously. You made it. What's the situation? Constantine asked. The balloon's down, but there's chaos everywhere, Jack replied. Night Market and Gaddock Station are under attack. It's bad, Harlequina said. The Circle of Flame is causing mayhem, and the Dimmer Sisters are exploiting the chaos. We've got undead centaurs roaming the streets too. Constantine's expression darkened. How did they know to attack tonight? Someone's betrayed us. Could it be one of us? Rabbit's Foot asked. Or someone we trusted? Harry Potter added. We can't be sure, Constantine said. We need to secure the prototype and figure out who the traitor is. With distant screams and clashes growing louder, Jack suggested splitting up. Harlequina and I will head to Gaddock Station to secure the prototype. Rabbit, Harry, stay here with Constantine and help defend the night market. Agreed. But be careful. The traitor could be anyone, Constantine warned. Rabbit and Harry stayed with Constantine, preparing to defend their position. They saw undead centaurs charging through the streets, terrorizing the populace. This is madness. How do we fight back? Harry asked. We hold our ground. Use your magic to keep them at bay, Constantine instructed. Rabbit reloaded his gun, face set with determination. Let's give them hell. Meanwhile, Jack and Harlequina made their way to Gaddock Station, navigating through the fog and danger. When they arrived, the station was under heavy attack. We have to secure the prototype and get it out of here, Jack said. Let's move quickly. We can't afford any more surprises, Harlequina added. They fought their way through the station, finally reaching the secured room where Lannic's prototype was stored. As they prepared to move it, the weight of their situation became clear. Jack, do you think we can trust Constantine? Harlequina asked. I don't know anymore, Jack replied. But we have to get this prototype to safety, no matter what. With the prototype in hand, they made their way back to regroup with the others. As they rode, they noticed Adrian was missing. Where's Adrian? Has anyone seen him? Jack asked. His horse is over there, but no sign of him, Harlequina said. Do you think he was captured? We can't wait. We have to get this prototype out of here, Constantine said. If he's alive, he'll find his way back. As the train's engine roared to life, the fighting around them intensified. The Circle of Flame and the Dimmer Sisters had launched their final assault. The prototype and their lives depended on their actions in the coming hours. Jack, Harlequina, Rabbit's Foot, and Harry Potter had to find a way to end the chaos and expose the traitor among them. In Doskvol, trust was a rare commodity, and the stakes had never been higher. Lannic sat in his workshop the next morning, staring at the prisoner tied to a chair. The young man, barely more than a boy, was stripped of his mask, his defiance clear. You're going to tell me everything, Lannic said, his voice cold and menacing. Who sent you? How did you know about our mission? The prisoner remained silent, eyes fixed ahead. Lannic leaned in closer. I can make this very painful for you, Lannic warned. Or you can start talking and make it easier on yourself. Hours passed, and the sounds of struggle echoed through the workshop. Outside, the city of Doskvol continued its usual rhythm, unaware of the dark events unfolding. For the crew, the night had been both a victory and a loss, and as dawn broke, they prepared for the next battle, knowing the fight was far from over. We'll find you, Adrian, Lannic vowed. And we'll uncover the traitor. No matter the cost. With this resolve, Lannic and his crew faced the dawn, ready for whatever shadows lay ahead. Jack, Harlequina, Rabbit, and Harry Potter made their way back to their base in Crow's Foot, exhausted and on edge. Rabbit's sense of unease grew stronger as they approached. Something's not right, Rabbit muttered. I smell smoke, Harlequina replied. They quickened their pace, fear tightening their chests. When they burst through the door, the sight was horrifying. The interior was scorched, with burn marks and broken furniture everywhere. The once safe haven now resembled a war zone. Where's Jim Bob? And Dr. Lazarus? Jack asked urgently. They split up to search the wreckage. Harlequina found Jim Bob first, unconscious in the garden with severe burns on his body. Jim Bob. Oh no, Jim Bob. Harlequina cried, her voice breaking as she gently cradled his head, trying to assess the damage. Meanwhile, Harry discovered Dr. Lazarus in the basement, equally burned and unconscious. Dr. Lazarus, wake up. We need you, Harry said urgently. They carried Lazarus to a makeshift cot, and after a tense wait, he slowly regained consciousness. His eyes fluttered open, filled with pain but also urgency. They came while you were out, Lazarus said weakly. Members of the Circle of Flame. The group gathered around him, hanging on his every word. What happened, Doc? Tell us everything, Jack asked. Lazarus took a shaky breath, wincing at the pain. Jim Bob and I were here, minding the place. We heard a noise, and before we knew it, they were inside. They set fires, broke everything they could find. We tried to fight back, but they overwhelmed us. Who led them? Harlequina demanded. Heatwave's men, Lazarus said. They said this was a message. That you're to stay out of the Circle of Flame's business. Or worse will happen. Rabbit clenched his fists, anger burning in his eyes. This is because of the mission. Someone betrayed us. We need to find out who, Harry said. And we need to make them pay. Lazarus nodded weakly, his face etched with frustration and sorrow. Be careful. They're more dangerous than you realize. They've allied with the Dimmer Sisters. It wasn't just an attack on the mission. They're trying to crush you. We'll find the traitor, Doc, Jack promised. And we'll make sure they regret ever crossing us. Harlequina stood up, her expression a mix of fury and determination. No one hurts Jim Bob and gets away with it. We'll get our revenge. The group huddled together, their resolve hardening. They had been betrayed, attacked, and left for dead, but they weren't beaten. They would recover, find the traitor, and strike back with a vengeance. "First, we get Jim Bob and Lazarus back on their feet," Jack said. "Then, we hunt down the bastard who did this. And we show Heatwave and the Dimmer sisters what happens when they mess with us," Rabbit added. As they tended to their wounded comrades, their determination burned brighter than the flames that had ravaged their base. The circle of flame had made a powerful enemy, and the fight was far from over.